right, guys, we're
I haven't
actually
seen
live right
Oh,
now.
all right. All right. Hot mics, everybody. Hot mics,
Olivia,
everybody.
I just have to make a couple of adjustments.
Okay.
You're funny. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Okay, where's live control? Make sure we're up there.
So we're broadcasting right now? My
The light is blinking.
guys are asking, which light am I looking at?
Oh, no, I'm looking up the, see the little green light?
Over here?
That's
Yeah.
flashing, so.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure.
We need to get the line out of the way, or all right. I want some product placement if they're not paying us. Turn these waters around. No.
Yeah, heck yeah.
You turn yours the wrong way. We should have brought some bottles of Keep It Hemple.
We should have put a few things on the table.
Could
The things, yeah, the things you learn
Yes. Okay,
on the
we're
way.
up.
Okay.
Yes, we are up.
All right.
And because you actually, if you pull it, you can pull it up on your phone and you can see it.
Oh, cool.
Just don't keep it up because the audio is going to be off.
Feedback.
Oh.
It's
See?
delayed. Yeah, I can hear it. Let me text everybody I know and love.
That's good. He knows some people.
Yeah, we don't know anybody.
There's only like 4. That's my whole family. I'm just
Okay. Let me try to get myself positioned.
all right. Is that too far back? Am I too far back? Or-
You're good. Everybody's good. I mean, as long as you can see
All right.
yourself on that screen, I think you're good.
All right.
Are we
Now,
talking into that camera too?
No. We're just going to talk.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. Then you, I mean, you're
Turn
good.
a little bit.
All right.
Okay. My God, I'm sorry about that delay.
That's
folks.
okay.
Yeah, great things take time.
Whew, Jesus. Okay, we're going to go and do this countdown. And 3. Come on. Are you going to do this now? Yes, you are.
Oh no. Okay.
There we go. Oh, Jesus. All right, guys, thank you for watching Square Media Studios. This is The Project with Steve Rutherford. And tonight, thank God, we have Keep It Hemple with us.
Yay.
These folks are here with us. We had some technical glitches initially, but thank you guys for hanging out with me. I really, really appreciate that. And even before we got on air, we were just having a fantastic time. These guys are nuts. This is great. This is officially, of course, Black History Month. I wanted to mix things up just a little bit for Black History because I think what you guys are doing is Black history. That's a lot of history, man. So, because if you think about it, 20, 30, 40 years ago, you would not have been able to do it,
Right.
so forth and so on. So I think this is a fantastic thing that you guys are doing.
And so many of us still aren't able to do this. So many of us are being left out of this industry, and sometimes I think it's purposely. So we're just happy that we're here and we're able to do what we're doing right now.
You like it?
Yeah, love it.
Love it.
Love it.
Absolutely.
We've met
So,
some great people. So
Tell
we
me,
love it.
first of all, let me ask you guys this. Where'd the name come from?
Brainstorming, late night brainstorming. We rarely sleep these days.
Right.
So, in the later hours, what they call the witching hour,
Yeah.
your mind starts to go between that conscious and subconscious state.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And then, you get different images sent to you.
I bet you do. It happens to me quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. So tell me, what does each person do here at the company?
Well, right now we're so small that we all do everything.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do
Yeah.
everything.
Everyone wears a different hat all day long.
Technically.
So yes.
Yeah.
So there's no real. He's the grower, and she does the books. It's
Right.
It's
This is what you need now.
Yeah.
This
and
is what
people
we
have to
need.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got you.
Sorry.
Oh no, you're
Getting up a
good.
little higher. All right.
Let me see here. What do we have coming up? Yeah, that. So, tell me what it is that Keep It Hemple does. Really does. Because I have no idea.
We do. Go ahead.
Oh,
It's-
well, Well, one thing we have two companies. One is called Southern Hemisphere, and we're in a commercial warehouse where we grow everything. We grow all of our plants, and we grow hydroponically, and we use organic practices.
Now, some of these things you're going to have to explain to me because I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Okay.
You said hydro what?
Hydroponic is we grow our stuff in water,
Oh,
and
It's without soil.
Without soil.
yeah,
That's really what it.
that's interesting.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that, and then that company feed Keep It Hemple. We use our plants, and we have it extracted into oil, and we put that oil into our online company, which is Keep It Hemple. We have oils and salves and that sort of thing.
So, okay, hold on a second. The plants that are growing in the water, is it like all kinds of plants? Is it corn or what is it?
It can be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the neat thing about the hydroponics. Going soilless, you can almost grow anywhere. I was looking at a special on the History Channel, and they're talking about building greenhouses several layers below the Earth's surface.
I
right?
saw that.
Did you see
Yeah,
that? That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Pretty cool. And so it kind of opened us up. Like we went in to start growing hemp, but it actually opened our eyes to the potentials of it all.
But do you lose anything by growing it in water instead of soil?
Sunlight, oftentimes, unless you're in
But no nutrients, nothing like that.
well, you're actually in more control of the nutrients that your plant is getting.
Really?
And you can dial them in. So when you start noticing deficiencies in your crop, you can actually dial it in and tune to whatever your plant is needing at that moment.
Wow. Who knew? Well, I didn't know.
There's a lot of science. There's a lot of science behind it. I mean,
Yeah.
we have to have certain type of lights. We have lights that radiate blue, and some radiate red, and
And they all do specific things, I'm guessing.
yeah. And then we have a light
Yeah, depending on
schedule.
the phase of the plant, what phase it's
Oh, the
in.
growing phase. Wow. So you guys can take I don't know, I'll just say a seed, and from that point, there's different phases of growth, and you can determine exactly how long it's going to take to grow to a full plant.
Well, we actually,
So your harvest season is, you know exactly when it's going to happen.
You
Exactly.
should, yeah.
Holy Moses. Okay.
yeah. So and to add to that, we can control the cycle that the plant's in. Right. So
Oh,
if
really?
we don't want it to flower or start producing
You
buds,
can slow it down?
we can control if it's in flower or what we call vegetative state.
Really?
And it all has to do with the light cycle. Just like the sun,
Sure, sure.
in nature, a plant would know, okay, it's getting to the end of the summer, so I need to start blooming or fruiting.
Really? Okay, but wait. Tell me about your former careers. You were what?
A nurse. I
Well, still are a nurse, I guess.
Yes,
Right?
I was a nurse, and I was a licensed practical nurse, and I used to take care of a lot of kids who were homebound, who had trachs and ventilators and G tubes, and most of my kids had seizure disorders. So, and one of the things I noticed with the kids in nursing, a lot of our kids are on medications, and they become toxic to that medication. And then they have to titrate down or titrate up depending on how severe or how bad the seizures are or
Right.
how severe the toxicity is. So it's always a game. Kids have to go in, they have to take blood, they have to see where the levels are. So that really got me interested. And then I heard a report on, medical marijuana treating children with seizure disorders out
Right.
in California and
Yep.
how they were moving.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I told Danielle, I was like, man, I really want to get into this business. And at the time, industrial hemp was nowhere on the radar for North Carolina.
Right.
And I didn't know how we were going to get into it. And I was like, I just don't. She had a cousin that was doing someone's books out in Colorado. I was like,
Right.
call and ask him. And she's like, that's just so far away. And so when it came, I was like, we have got to do this.
So wait, what is it?
When the industrial hemp passed for North Carolina.
Oh, so it was
The pilot
legislation
program.
that had to pass.
Right.
Oh, a pilot program.
So we're in a pilot program. So it goes up until 2020. So we applied for a license, and we had to be you have to be a farmer in order to get the license. So we
Right.
already had a community garden for our after school program. So we were considered farming because we had been doing that for a long time. And we applied for a license and we were awarded that license.
Wow.
Yeah.
So okay, nursing. Your background is in what?
Business. So I was pretty much corporate all the way up until last January 12th. So
A year
that
ago.
was that was the day. Like, okay, like we were talking earlier, just
Right.
stepped off the cliff. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I was in retail financial planning or merchandise planning and buying. Most of my career is on purchasing and merchant.
Lorenzo, what about you?
I started, I guess, my career in the Marines. So
Hoorah.
Semper Fi. And then when I got out of the Marines, I moved to Charlotte, and I went into retail for a couple different companies here.
Right.
I left national retail sales manager, so I was in training, development, and the sales experience.
So okay, this is why I asked the question. So you guys really, it's not like you guys are farmers.
We
No.
are today.
No, you are now, but you had no experience
No.
with this, but you had a lot of interest.
We had,
Who actually pulled you guys together?
well, it's kind of strange.
Destiny.
Well, Lorenzo was visiting our neighbor who had just moved in, and they were getting together for brunch. And our
Right.
neighbors came and said, "Hey, why don't you guys join us for brunch?" And we didn't know how to grow any, this
So you guys knew
particular
each
plant.
other?
Danielle
Okay.
and I, yes.
Okay.
So I was sitting across from him, and I always ask people, "Where are you from?"
Right.
And he said Mississippi, and I'm like, "Wow, you're from Mississippi. You must know how to grow
You
stuff."
definitely know how to grow something.
Everybody from Mississippi know how to grow something.
So he said, "Yeah, I do. I know how to grow." And I said, "Well, have you ever grown marijuana or industrial hemp or
bet that
hemp
threw
or
you, didn't it?
whatever?"
First answer, no. And then she started to elaborate, and I'm like, okay, let me hear what she's got to say.
Right.
So I told him, I said, "I got this license to grow industrial hemp, and it's a lot like the marijuana plant, from what I'm hearing. So can you help me grow something?" And he was like, "Well, sure, give me a couple of seeds." So by this time, Danielle and I had already ordered seeds from Italy. We had like 4
Oh, from Italy.
50-pound bags of seed. And we didn't know what to do.
But why Italy, though?
Because that's one of the things from when we first got into this, the Department of Agriculture
Right.
said you had to order it from
Abroad. It had to
abroad.
be.
You could not get it from the United States.
Well, right.
And that was because hemp was considered
That's a schedule two.
scheduled. Yeah.
but
It was
sorry,
illegal. I
consider-
couldn't.
It was
We couldn't.
illegal.
Yeah, it was illegal.
I mean,
illegal
I know
to-
about that part, but
Right.
I'm thinking, I would never would have thought Italy for that.
Well, it didn't
I'm
have to be
thinking-
Italy. It just had
So
to
it could
be.
have been-
It could have been abroad. It just had to be. It could have come from Canada. It could have come from.
yeah.
We chose Italy because it's the closest.
It sounds sexy.
To our climate.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
We have Italian seeds.
I got it right. Exactly.
We speak Italian too. The seeds too.
Okay.
So I went over to back to my house and I gave Lorenzo a Ziploc bag of seeds.
Right.
And I was
Largest
like-
bag of seeds I had ever seen in my own 2 hands ever.
Were you apprehensive? Were you like, I'm like,
First day I
don't
met him.
Want this in my possession? I mean, what were you thinking?
I was thinking, who are these crazy ladies
right.
asking me about growing? But
He took the seeds home. I had a little experiment going on, and my stuff looked so pitiful. And so when he took the seeds home, and he stuck them inside of his aquarium with his fish, and that's aquaponics.
aquaponics.
And
But did you know that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, from watching the show or
Just a general knowledge
Oh,
of
okay,
science
gotcha.
and how things work.
okay. Just sprinkle this in there.
This should work.
And his plants were beautiful. And I was like, "Oh my God, you really know how to do this." So Danielle and I were talking. I was like, "We need him on the team."
Right.
So we just said, "Do you want to like come on this adventure with us?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, yeah, sure." And so he started coming over every night after work. and we would get started,
Just planning and
Yeah.
doing
looking
it.
for locations to grow in,
Right.
and then we found our warehouse, started growing, learned a lot along the way. So,
Is this like an open warehouse? There's no
Yeah,
air
it's just
conditioning, none
no
of that,
air
right.
conditioning, but we do have heat and water.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
Clean water.
it's
clean
a
too.
big open, and so we've had to build it up
Right.
to fit our needs. So it's been a long, not a struggle, but a steep learning curve.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
us.
The learning curve is
Yeah,
insane.
and I was just going to ask you that. I mean, again, because you guys we're not in the business per se,
Mm-hmm.
and corporate world, medical world, and now you're growing hemp.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you kind of ran into each other, started to make this thing work. What kind of stumbling blocks did you experience?
Wow, several.
Several.
well, just
Wow.
on
Where do you wanna start?
let's
Yeah.
start on the growing side. So the grow side, again, it's a lot different to grow a couple of plants in your garden versus trying to grow hundreds or thousands of plants in a warehouse. So that was the first big challenge.
Is
Was
this like growing wheat? In
Wheat?
terms of like you throw, wheat seeds
Oh.
out and it grows and
I wish it was that easy. And you know what? Many people told us
Yeah.
going into this thing was like, "Oh, it's
It's
a
a
weed.
weed. It'll grow."
It'll grow like weed.
It'll grow anywhere.
It'll grow anywhere."
but not quite the case.
No.
no.
No, not at all.
So we started out in soil, in dirt.
Oh, you did. Okay.
So, and our plants we thought they were beautiful. And so we had met this gentleman, and he came over, he took one look at our plants, and he's like, y'all have a problem. And I was like, we were like, what's the problem? He was like, you have a mite here, and it's eating your plants. And we were like,
Really?
what? But they're so pretty.
Right? They look nice to us.
And as soon after he said that, we'd start noticing, yeah, there is
A
something
little
wrong.
white.
You can't see them with
Oh,
your eye.
okay. Okay.
So he said, you guys got to get a microscope. And so we got a microscope, attached it to our cell phones, and you
Right.
could see the mites just
No
going crazy.
way.
It
And,
was gross. Look, he's already itching.
so we like, well, what do we do? And he said, burn them. We were like,
Burn 'em all.
what? We were like, we had like 900 some odd plants at this point, and we had just gotten started. And this is an expensive business to go into. So we were like,
and
no.
add some add some context to that too, right? Like, so they live 30, 45 minutes away from where we were actually growing, right? So there's a commute there. I was working down there where they live, so I was making that commute in the morning, then making that commute back, sometimes with my kids in tow, so that we can go in there. So these were our literal babies.
Right.
We
right.
we were literally in there with them every day, late nights, early mornings. So when somebody came to us and their best advice for us for our situation was to burn all of our crop, it didn't. It
Yeah.
didn't.
No,
it
we
didn't
were
go
stubborn.
over
We said no.
well. Yeah, we were.
We
So
weren't
you
gonna
said
do that.
no.
We said no.
And what happened?
We ended up
We ended
burning
up
about
burning 'em.
3-4 months later.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, you did do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
I guess you had to
we
do
couldn't
it.
get it under control.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's nothing you could buy to spray on it. And,
You
wow,
can,
that's-
you can't spray your way out of it. It would go dormant, and we think we've conquered it, and then 2 or 3 months later, you start seeing it reappear.
Full blown.
So they just lay eggs,
So you
go dormant,
essentially
come back.
lost your first crop.
We did.
Yes.
We lost our first crop, and then we had a second. So by this time, we're like, well, we met this gentleman, and he was like, let me show you guys a different technique of doing this. And
Right.
so, and then he showed us how to grow in the hydroponic system, and we saw the plants would just double in size in such a short amount of time.
But that's what you did initially anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But
Right.
that's
Well-
what he did initially, but it was aquaponics without the fish.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Right.
so we were like, wow, this is cool. We're onto something here.
Right.
And so he stuck around and he showed us a lot, and that's what we've been doing ever since.
That's amazing to me. So, okay, so you've got over that one, I think it's one hurdle, could be more than that. And how long ago was that?
That
That
was
was
his last year.
last
Yeah.
year.
Oh, just
we-
last year.
Yeah.
And
So we started growing November of
2017.
17. So we probably burnt those plants February-ish.
Yeah.
Wow.
So about a year ago.
And you just can't up and burn them. You have to get a permit too, I
yeah,
guess.
the Department of Agriculture comes out and they supervise the burning of the plants.
He just took over because we were just kind of crying in our own corner.
Right.
Just,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a big deal.
it was
Yeah.
a very big deal. A very big deal. And we just handed him the bottle of lighter fluid and just kind of stood back. Do what you're going to do.
Right. And then watch all the other tenants from the warehouse come out and
Right.
like, what's going on?
What's that smell? I can smell this all the way in the.
Wow. So you I guess, started over, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started over, and when we were growing in soil, we had certain type of lights. So they were like, well, no, if you're growing hydroponically, you can't use those lights. And so it was like, you need these lights. It's like, what? You know how much money we have vested in lights?
Right,
and
right.
so we had to start over with different lights and a whole different system and the bucket system. And the guy was like, well, I'll show you how to build a system versus buying a system, because these systems are like tens of thousands of dollars. Some of them are 20, some of them are 50,000.
Yikes.
And then the lights for one light is like what, 1,000? How much was one light? We needed like 15 or 20.
So, but these were very specific lights. And they,
Yeah, these are
okay.
specific.
Industry specific as well, I guess.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, we've learned a lot along the way, and then learning different nutrients. And if a plant looks yellow, what do you do? If it starts dropping leaves, what do you do? So
Right,
we had
right.
to learn a lot.
So it was a lot of trial and error in the grow
Was.
side. And then
Right.
on the business side, those were challenges all on their own, where we just banking, merchant services. They were all challenges for us. You know, we get started with the bank, get our merchant services all set up, and then the bank would come back and we got to close you because what you're doing is, you know, he's not,
High risk.
yeah,
Wow.
And no
So-
insurance on anything.
right. So we go back to the searching for a bank to open and finding, you know, then they have to change all your accounts on your merchant services. So it was constantly going back and forth. I think we dealt with that for a couple months too.
That had to be frustrating.
It was very,
But you ended up finding a bank, I'm guessing.
yeah.
Jeez. That'll make somebody want to just quit.
Pretty much. There
Yeah.
was a couple days I'm like, why are we growing again?
Right. Like, why are we doing this?
Because yeah, this seems like a money pit right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But we've stuck through, and you know, things are starting. Doors are starting to open up for us now.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. So you guys do, what does it say? Keep It Hemple's medically inspired full spectrum cannabis extracts are a trusted source for relief from chronic pain, anxiety, and inflammation. That's a mouthful.
And that's why we do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, but did you knew the properties? Did you knew what this would do before you got into it? I mean, everything.
You know, no, not all of it. And some of it I didn't even believe until we start giving it to our family members for different problems. And they were like, oh, this really worked. I need more, I need more. And so it was like, man, this stuff does more than what we anticipated.
Right.
Right.
So, but there's no, or is there a definitive list in terms of everything that it will do? I know it says, what is it, 50 medical conditions?
A definitive list. I think we're a little bit ways away from that
Right.
because with the legislation opening up, it's also opening up to research. You know,
Right.
our ability to research this, you know, and see what it
sure.
actually is capable of. But I mean,
Wow.
any pain that you're experiencing and that is not inflammation, that is, you know, that is not a chronic pain, those are very few and far between.
So but everything you guys are doing is in selling, of course, is legal.
Yes.
Where's the illegal part? Not that,
It has to go back to the genetics of the plant. So,
okay.
Again, that's when we talk about the difference between marijuana and industrial hemp.
Right.
So CBD is legal as long as it is derived. Those products are derived from industrial hemp plants, which has a THC threshold, a legal threshold. So
What categorizes it though as an industrial plant or hemp plant?
that that THC threshold.
Oh, oh, really? So you mean the other one that? Let me just go through this stuff first. Using diverse ways, perhaps the best is. I never knew this part. Cooking oil. Has a nutty flavor and a source of protein. I could sell that.
Yeah, protein, omega 3s.
So, but do you guys sell it as cooking oil as well?
No, we do the CBD. So we do a whole plant extraction. For the food side of things. You would press those seeds to get that oil.
Right,
So
right.
so we're taking from like the flower or the bud, the leaves, the stems.
Yeah.
We're extracting from that part, and
But okay, clarify something for me though. What's the difference between hemp and marijuana? I mean, is it two different plants?
You know, they're both a cannabis plant,
Okay.
right? And so can we talk about the initial title that we had that we were going to do this podcast under?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we had,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
we
that
were,
one didn't go too well.
well, right. And part of the challenge that we have faced for the past year and some change is the language.
Right.
You know, many people, there's a miseducation just because there's not enough education present.
Right.
Right. And so a lot of people know of it as the devil's lettuce, right? The weeds, the marijuanas,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's what people are identifying it with. And so when they refer to what we're doing, it's easy to use a word that they're familiar with, right? Even though there are some very stark some differences that the federal government would like for us to make sure that we're promoting and correcting that language. So when we start talking about the difference between hemp and marijuana, we're talking about the THC property or the cannabinoid in the plant, right? So if it's that threshold that makes it hemp or allows it to be industrial hemp, it's 0.3% or lower, right?
Yeah.
And anything that's above that, you're in the weeds, right? You're in the marijuana side of it.
But it's still one plant.
Right. One cannabis
Is how
plant.
is a difference in how you process it? Does that make sense? Is that right?
no, I mean I guess
Oh,
they're
that's right. You
they're
said it's-
separate. They are separate plants.
Okay.
So you can't take a marijuana plant and it's basically a marijuana plant that's been the THC has
It's
been bred out over time.
Yeah.
That makes it industrial hemp.
Gotcha.
Or maybe it started the other way. Maybe it was industrial hemp and they
And
Right,
they did it
right.
the
bred
other
it
way.
right. I don't know.
right.
I'm not positive on that, but so that's really the distinction is that THC threshold. So to be legal, for us to be legal to sell CBD products, we have to make sure that whatever plants we're extracting into our products has that meets that threshold by the state of North Carolina right now. So
Yeah, I'll tell you what's frustrating to me though. Like I would watch that show, maybe it was on Vice or something, but they were in Colorado, and this one show on Vice, man, is this dude his job on Vice is to go out and get high. Just totally, he would take any and everything.
We got
Different
people
show.
lining up to go do that.
It's a totally different show. But
Opportunities.
what frustrated me was to watch another show on Vice, and they would show these families that would move to Colorado because their daughter or the kid or whatever was sick, and the only thing that would help them would be this drug. Is that right? Am I saying the right drug? Not a drug, but it's
Yeah,
It's a medicine.
medicine.
okay. This medicine.
Because the FDA they're taking hemp and now they're using it for seizure disorders. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
But
but it's synthetic.
But
so I
here's the
wouldn't
funny
take that.
thing, though. That same family, if they were from Texas and they went to Colorado for this treatment for their daughter, if they were to cross back into Texas, they would be taken to jail and the kids would be taken from them. And I'm like, that is crazy. And then, but the CBD was in fact helping their daughter.
Absolutely.
That is bizarre to me.
Absolutely.
We have some stupid ass laws in this country.
yeah, yeah.
And the only reason why it's illegal is because the government couldn't figure out a way to make their money off of it.
Well,
so now,
hold your horses.
Yeah.
Since we're talking
Do we
about
have
that,
to-
let's get a better understanding of this
Yes,
whole thing.
yeah.
Because to understand how this whole thing started, it's important to go back to what happened in the United States in the early 1900s, just after the Mexican Revolution. At this time, we saw the influx of immigration, immigration from Mexico into states like Texas and Louisiana. Not surprising, these new Americans brought with them their native language, culture, and customs. One of these customs were the use of cannabis as a medicine and relaxant. It's
been around longer than America.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Mexican immigrants referred to this plant as, that's how they spelled it, wasn't me, marijuana. While Americans were very familiar with cannabis, this is the dumbest damn thing. Cannabis, because it was present in almost all tinctures and medicines available at the time. It was already here. The word marijuana was a foreign term, so when the media, I thought this was something that typically the politicians would do, but the media began to play on the fears that the public had about these new citizens, about falsely spreading claims about the disruptive Mexicans with their dangerous native behaviors, including marijuana.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Very
It
familiar.
does, doesn't it? And I could go on, but, oh, am I? Oh, yeah. You know, the demonization of cannabis plants, so forth and so on. It's you guys know the story,
Right.
So that's why that's why marijuana was outlawed, for just another stupid ass reason. But cigarettes kill you.
Oh yeah.
Not bad.
Alcohol.
Alcohol kills you, damages your body.
Continued use of opioids.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're having a discussion about whether to make this legal or not.
Yeah.
And it helps people. Your ass is crazy. That's just my opinion, not
Right.
these folks.
Well,
It's just
so I guess leading up, well, shortly after this part, you know, the America had the war on drugs, right?
Yeah.
So we deployed that war on drugs. It wasn't just here; it was any surrounding countries that we thought that we were having this influx of this
Right.
this devil's lettuce from, right? And so part of our inherited duty in this industry is to address a lot of those people who are still incarcerated,
right.
you know, for this thing that is curing people's children, right? And parents it's your kid. I would go to jail to make sure my son is healthy. You know what I'm saying? If I have to go
Yeah.
to a different state to
Yeah.
get him
Yeah,
something to make him healthy,
Exactly.
I'm on the way.
Yep.
You know, and so you're putting parents in a dilemma. So you've got the population of American parents that see it. You know, seizures are far more common than what we would know from looking at the television.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And that's only one aspect of what this particular crop does.
Right.
So like I said, more research, more studies, and I think a year from now, 2 years from now, we're going to be having a little bit different of a conversation because one of the things is the CBD is popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
Why? So why the popularity now?
People believe it's a miracle drug, a miracle medicine. I'll try to use the right
Sure.
terminology.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's, if from seizures that were deemed incurable,
Right.
you know, and now I give you a few drops of this a day and you haven't had the 60 seizures a day that you've been
Exactly.
having.
Yep.
You know, you're actually going 60 days, 90
Yep.
days without one.
Even PTSD.
Yeah.
Well, as a Marine, that's the parting gift we get, right? PTSD, you know,
Yeah.
go assimilate into the corporate world.
Yeah.
So,
That's right.
I think another reason why it's very popular is because, you know, people are just afraid of the we've all heard the stories about addiction.
Right.
yeah.
And people are afraid. So this drug is not addictive. This medication is not addictive, and you can still get the relief that you want,
Right.
without being, you know, getting addicted to something that you may not have control over after a while.
Right. Right.
And so a lot of people are looking for something for their children who have ADD, ADHD, instead of trying to start them on Adderall or some of these other medications that are harsh. So
But aren't they all from a chemical imbalance of some sort? The
Like-
ADHD and all that?
so they say. Some
Right.
of it, I think, is just placed on people because they don't know how to deal with certain behaviors. You know, everybody's different.
Sure.
So,
Right,
you know, if I don't want to deal with you, it's
Right.
easy for me to give you a diagnosis.
Right. The pill was made because it's the easy way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
If I've got to stand in and address behaviors that maybe my mom didn't teach me how to address, or my father, I never seen it.
Right.
And if you're weird, you're strange or you're alien.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something wrong with you,
Right.
and not something wrong with my understanding of what you're
course.
going through, right? And so
What's wrong with you?
and so we've kind of, I like to say, we've hidden behind the
Right.
pills,
Yeah.
behind the the opioids and stuff like that. And what we're experiencing now is our culture, or our country, is starting to wake up to the healthy way of being.
I agree.
You know,
Yeah, but
yeah.
I agree. And I think the country too, man, is really waking up to really the truth.
Access to information.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And they're just so they're really tired of all the BS, and this BS is just so layered.
Mm-hmm.
It's just BS after BS after BS. Like, where's the truth? Oh, it's down there somewhere. At the very bottom, you'll find the truth.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But this, again, what you guys are doing, I think, is phenomenal. I hate that. Well, let me ask you this: do you know how many other companies are there like this in the state? If this is a pilot program,
There are over 400 licensed growers. Not all of them are actually growing. So a lot of people went ahead and got, they went ahead and got a license to grow or a permit to grow. So I'm not sure exactly what the number is of active growers, or how many acres or square footage in greenhouses. But they, if you go, I think, to the Department of Ag,
right.
or the North Carolina Industrial Hemp Commission, you can probably pull those numbers up. But yeah, so I think there's quite a few people from out west who are moving to North Carolina. Some of them had family ties here. Some of them
Right.
they just want to get out of,
Medical marijuana.
yeah, or medical marijuana, or just because of the taxes.
I'm
and
sorry,
stuff
they want
like
to get
that.
out of medical marijuana.
Not so much because of the plant or that. It's just, they're getting taxed so high on that side of things. So,
Yeah.
whereas, you would have thought, so in California, when it became medical marijuana was legal, the price was still up there for the people who grew it.
Right.
Then it became recreational, and so everyone pretty much could grow it themselves. That price dropped dramatically, so those
bet it
guys
did.
can no longer afford to grow out there. So yeah, they're looking at southeast states now, or North Carolina, Kentucky.
But you said there were probably 400. You said licensed.
There are, there's
licenses.
over 400 licenses,
But you don't have.
and they're
to,
still, I think they're probably doing about 80 a month now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people trying to get their license, and I think everyone's anticipating, some sort of legislation,
Right. That
whether
will,
it be we're hoping for medical marijuana that will come along.
Well, let me ask you guys this though. So what happens when the government says, "Hey, it's legal for the state of North Carolina"? Does that change anything for you guys?
Yes.
Well, we'll start probably growing both plants. We'll probably continue with high CBD bred plants,
Right.
but we'll also probably add marijuana or the high THC
Right.
as well, because both cannabinoids are used in healing.
Right.
Right now, we're only allowed to use one of them.
Right.
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 Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and a thing to note about the cannabinoids also is that they're highly synergetic. So,
Meaning?
so the bigger or the larger the concentration that you have, the more healing properties you will be able to get in that. So when you have CBD and you have THC, just because they're the most popular of,
Right.
the ones, if CBD has its own effect and then THC has its own effect,
Right.
but when you put them together, it's a completely different effect than what you would get from them independently.
Is it more potent? Is
Yes.
that like- oh, it
Yes.
is?
Yes.
Again, let me go back to the show that I saw on Vice, but and these were vets who had come back from the war. These guys were being treated with something. CBD. I don't know what it was. But the guy said, "Listen, I can't give you but so much of this because it's so strong." And I didn't know it had different intensities to it.
Oh, yeah.
So the guy was like, "Well, what happens if you give it to me and it's too strong?" He said, "You're going to pass out." I'm like, you're going to possibly go into a coma. Sorry, I don't need to laugh.
Wow.
But that's, I'm like,
I don't know
really?
if that was CBD.
Yeah,
No, that's what I'm saying. It was a I think it was a combination.
you might have a little extra in there.
Something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
whatever it was, it worked on the guy.
It worked,
Because he got up the next morning. He didn't have his normal seizure that morning. He said, I have not felt this good in years. So I really hope that things really turn up for you guys, because this is nothing but good stuff for me.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. You don't need a lot of this to get to work.
Right.
Just half of we have tinctures, and it's like a milligram or half a milligram. You only need a couple of drops
Wow.
for it to work. A lot of people, I think that, I need a whole
Well,
tablespoon or something.
More than
It's-
half it. I mean, depending on the potency of the
Yeah.
CBD
Sure.
oil.
And you got to make
But
sure it's
more than a couple of drops.
And depending
You
on
need
what
like
you're using it for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is a miracle drug. I think so.
But right now you can only buy it from you guys, though, right?
Oh, you could definitely buy Keep It Hemple at keepithemple.com. So you could buy our tinctures, and we have salves, and we have capsules on our website. So you could definitely buy our stuff, yeah. And we recommend people to buy our brand because it's very pure. We use organic practices. You know exactly where it's being farmed.
Yeah.
So a lot of the other brands, we just can't speak upon.
Right. Like if you're following us on Instagram or Facebook, those plants are the plants we're putting into the products that you're getting off keepithemple.com. So that
Okay.
kind of makes us unique in our ability to control the different segments of bringing it to the market.
Right, right.
You know, and there's levels and levels and levels of testing that goes along the way. But that's one of the things that we wanted to be known for is just, hey, Charlotte should have a trusted source. North Carolina should have a trusted source. And when people support Keep It Hemple, they're actually supporting the agricultural community here in North Carolina as well,
Right.
because we contract organic farmers around the state just to help us produce to the level that we need to produce to.
So you don't have what's just in the warehouse.
Correct.
You have more than that.
Correct.
Wow. Wow, guys, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we have to, and we've been very fortunate to team up, partner with some very good growers. And like we said, we test everything, third party testing. So, we know that there's no pesticides. Even from when it comes off the field after harvest, we're testing for pesticides, mycotoxins, pathogens.
Heavy metals.
Yeah, and all that. So they'll go through that entire screen. And then once it becomes a tincture, it goes through that same screening again. So we are definitely hands-on all the way through, like you said, from seed all the way till it hits the bottle.
Right. And I'm guessing that you have to keep a lot of things damn near top secret.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Our
You know what I
location
mean?
is one of them.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, damn, where are you guys located? No, but yeah, I know that you can't tell all your stuff,
Right.
because of what you guys do. Yeah, that would not be a good thing.
Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask you this: do you guys have to? I know you of course, you're registered with the FDA,
Department of Agriculture.
at Department of Ag. Do you have to register with like the sheriff's department?
We got ahead of it. One of the things that we wanted to make sure that we were doing is doing it the right way. At the time that we started, we knew a lot of people from different spaces that
Right.
were doing certain things, and then we kind of, you surround yourself with good people, and then you kind of pick things from those people to implement.
Right.
And we wanted to make sure that the Department of Agriculture didn't have an issue with us.
Right.
So we were forthcoming with a lot of things, and we wanted to get ahead and go and talk to the fire marshals, the sheriff departments, and those kind of people, just to make sure that they're aware, and a good thing that we did, because,
Yeah, they had an issue. I think some vape shops were selling it was more or less it was synthetic marijuana, but it was billed as CBD. So these kids were smoking or vaping this, and they were getting sick. So they raided the vape shop.
Right.
But they also, had a couple of detectives come knocking on our door too. We gave them a little tour, showed them our
Right.
our permit and all that stuff, and,
Right.
and explained the difference between the plants. And they're cool with it. They know we're there. Luckily we haven't had to call them for any kind of issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do know we're there.
Where do you guys see this or see this company in, I don't know, 10 years?
Wow.
10 years.
10 years.
We
Let's
got
talk
some-
5.
We
Okay.
got some.
Let's talk 5 months.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk Wednesday because
Yeah.
Wednesday
Yeah.
we'll have a better idea of what that 10-year
Right,
will
right.
look like. I mean, we've got some pretty big visions. We plan to continue to get better at our screening processes to continue to get good, smart people around us who are equally as ambitious and
Right.
Yes.
and equally consumer driven, because a lot of the things that we do, the decisions are easy because our community comes first.
Right.
Right. So
Okay.
when we know in our mind, we know that we have an autoimmune disease community. They're living with this, and whatever we do is going to lead to their hands, and if they got a chronic ailment or something of that nature,
Right.
all of that drives what we do. And like, so getting the test it's a pain, right? It's a pain to do a lot of the things that we do, but we know that those things are necessary
Sure, sure.
to just ensure the safety of our community.
Did you see the company? I'm sorry, you were going to say?
So, just to go back to what you were saying, so we have a commercial coming out, and we have a huge meeting on Wednesday. So we're just waiting to see what that's going to be like.
Right.
So hopefully in the next 5 years, I'm thinking that we would be a huge company. I'm hoping that we'll be on everybody's, not everybody, but certain people's shelves where
Sure.
the public can just go in and get it from their pharmacist or something. That's where we want to be, and we just don't want it any place. We just want you to feel safe when you go in and you ask your pharmacist for a bottle of tincture from Keep It HEMPLE. So that's where we want to be.
Right.
And we want to be a leading force in the medical community, like Lorenzo was saying, these people who have autoimmune diseases, women with a lot of different menstrual cramps and things of that nature. It is really good for those type of ailments, not just a seizure. Most people think seizure disorder,
Right.
but it goes way beyond that. I have arthritis, and I use it every day for that. And my mom uses it. She has eczema and psoriasis. She uses it every day. And she said it's the best thing she's taken so far.
Wow.
And she's been on everything because, as women, we want our skin to look pretty and
Sure.
radiant. And she was not getting that. So since she's been on the CBD, she's been using our salve and our tincture, and she was like, it is working. It is working. And I have to tell everybody it's working. And
Wow.
she's
Right.
excited.
Right.
So, so that's what we want it to be. We want everybody talking about our product and knowing that it does work.
Yeah,
Right.
sure,
Right.
sure. Wow.
And to be up there in your top 3 options, like when people go through whatever ailment or pain that the doctor is telling them that they're going to live with for an extended period of time, we want Keep It HEMPLE's products to be, well, let me try that instead of going through the 13, which leads to 31 different opioids,
Yeah,
before
exactly.
you've already built another problem in your body
That's
before
true.
you give us a shot.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's kind of, we have a lot of laws in between here and there, so
Yeah.
it's a little challenge to answer where we will be in 5 years, I guess, depending upon the law changes.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's where our vision is.
It probably would be a good idea too, man, to get some testimonials of people that are using it and
Oh, we
their
have a-
results. And so, you can put that on your website as well.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
up now.
They're there.
Oh,
They're up there now, and if
must
people
have
aren't
missed it.
following us, we're at Keep It HEMPLE on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Good.
So our testimonials are there.
What's the shelf life of I don't know, the oil?
We say 2 years. But
Okay.
you want to, I mean, if you're getting it for a reason. Chances are it won't last 2 years unless you're sending it to someone and they just don't get it. I guess.
Right. We and we're also kind of, I mean, we're also at the size where we can do everything small batch.
Yeah.
So we can really control the quality. And you know, that's kind of obviously very important to us because again, with the popularity of CBD coming out, there is a lot of there's going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of stuff out there,
Snake
a lot of
oil.
misinformation
Sure,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. So, again, that's why we chose to be on the medically inspired version or vision
Sure,
for the company,
Yeah.
because we do want to make sure that you know we're helping people and not giving the industry a bad name because they will go out there, they'll buy a bottle of CBD, assuming all CBDs are alike. Try it, not have any, you know, effectiveness whatsoever, and give up on it. When there's a lot of good CBD companies out there, and then there's a lot that aren't so honest about what they're doing.
Well, that's not good. Geez. Okay. I'm almost out of questions or comments. I can't believe that. But let's talk about this thing for a second.
Okay.
Hemp and marijuana. You've kind of talked about it already. This is non-psychoactive. This is, in fact, psychoactive from the same plant, right?
Well, CBD,
Yeah.
yes, it can be in both.
But
Yes,
I'm
yes.
just trying to understand.
Right. However, it's the level of that particular of the THC or the CBD that'll define it as hemp or marijuana.
Wow.
So like
So-
you know, if you
Go
go
back
back
to
to that,
slide.
you can see it contains less than 0.3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There you go.
exactly.
That's the
So
difference.
you can smoke a whole football field of hemp and you're not going to get high.
You'll go to sleep.
You will sleep
You'll definitely go to sleep.
for a long time, but you're not going to.
Yeah.
You won't
This
get
is a
high.
big joint, but I'm not getting high.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And we get that quite often too. Like, well, I didn't feel anything.
Right. Oh,
Well,
so
you
they're
weren't-
expecting to feel something.
Right.
Thanks
They're
a lot of
expecting
times.
that head high.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And this is more of a body high, so
Okay.
to speak. I keep using the term high, but a
Yeah, I get what you're
relaxation.
saying.
Relaxation.
Yeah.
So if you have this in your, I mean, can you carry this with you in an airport and the dog won't jump you? Or do you know?
Well, I haven't
It'll
had
be-
the dog jump me yet.
You're in the
But-
plane with it?
No.
Okay.
Not
I don't
not any of the
know.
bud. I don't know if the oil would give off the same.
Yeah, the tincture oil will probably
Yeah.
be pretty
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you walking around with, you know, pre-roll of
Yeah, you got some bud in your pocket. The dogs might get a whiff
Yeah.
of
But
that.
do you guys have to like carry an ID card or some sort?
well, we
keep
always
a
travel with our license, our pilot license,
Yeah.
just in case.
Yeah.
There's ever an issue.
Thank goodness.
We have that. But yeah, usually if I have to transport, I have the license, I have a transport letter, I've got a bill of sale, I've got all that information with me. So if I do get pulled over, here it is. This is what I'm doing with. This is why I have it. This is where I'm going with it. And
So when
and yes,
somebody
it's
buys, is it a special way that you have to ship it, or just regular shipping?
well, we tinctures and capsules and stuff like that are, we haven't had an issue. We don't typically sell a lot of. Well, we do have actually some sales of our pre-rolls online, so we haven't had
Yeah.
an issue yet
Right.
Yeah.
of that getting.
I mean, we do like the smell-proof baggies and
Right.
that kind of thing too to kind of help along with it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Hey guys, all I can say is this is very interesting to me. We're going to go a little bit off topic,
Let's do
just
it.
a little
Let's do
bit. And thanks for coming
Oh,
up. Thank you.
political climate.
So, yeah. The political climate that we're in today, how do you guys view this
In regarding our industry or the climate altogether?
altogether?
Anybody want to
we-
jump on that? We're not right. Obviously
It's
not.
like, no.
So-
We'll be
No,
here. We'll be
no,
here for
don't
5
you
hours.
say
Yeah.
anything.
How much time you got?
Wow. You're like that?
I'm gonna let Lorenzo start.
You guys- okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Lorenzo.
Um,
And then I'll jump in.
The I think where I like to spend my focus is on the byproduct of the political climate,
Right.
because the business that we're in, the cannabis industry that we're in, is one of the things that's drawing more of a bipartisan support than something that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the good part.
Yeah.
It's got people across the aisles having conversations. The climate, I think that it's going to ultimately benefit us. One, I think when we talk about the political climate, we got to understand that America's not a spring chicken. Right. America ain't no spring chicken.
Yeah.
It's been around. It survived Nixon. It survived, several other different scandals and things like that going on in the office. So someone once told me, one of my mentors told me that the office is bigger than the inhabitant.
Right. Than the person. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this country isn't going to allow, you got people fighting their various beliefs and all those kind of things, but it's not going to allow it to go underwater.
Right.
It is a business.
Yeah.
It's
true.
Right. It is a capitalist business. Well,
Right.
so it's in the business of doing business.
Yeah.
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 So that's my take on the political climate. There's a lot to be mad about.
Right.
If you focus on that, but I also believe where your focus goes, your energy flows.
That's
And
true.
so I like to spend my time just searching for that bright spot, even if I gotta push some of the other stuff out of the way.
You look like you don't necessarily agree with
Oh,
that.
she's ready. She's ready to jump in here.
I'm like, oh my God.
I'm glad we started over here first, and then we're gonna come back.
I do kind of agree with you there. Mitch McConnell passed a farm bill.
Right.
And I was like, well, okay, so we could actually do this because we've got Republicans and Democrats that want the same thing, finally.
Sure.
But you know what? When Mitch McConnell and the Republicans want to pass some stuff, there's got to be some big dollars involved, right? That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Money talks, and you know what walks.
Yeah.
So I am so happy that people can actually see with this new crop, we could do a lot of things. We could put people in college. We can heal some people.
Right.
We could build some roads, some freeways, maybe a train, that goes from one city to the next
Right.
instead of everybody hopping in their cars. We could do a lot of things
True.
with
Right.
with this new
Right.
crop, especially farmers who were dependent on tobacco and soybean, and they weren't making any money, losing their farms.
That is true.
So I am just glad to see that now farmers who've had their land for hundreds of years can hold on to it without getting welfare from the government, because that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So I'm just glad that we have a new crop that we can actually make some money, and not just farmers, but black farmers have been left out of this right
Oh,
now.
for sure.
So I'm hoping that they jump into this and they could keep their farms as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just glad that the government finally have looked at this as a new way for everybody to make some money. Because God knows computers and robots are taking the job, so people got to have a way to eat.
Well, that's true. That's true. So let me ask you guys this: do we live in a big town? Is Charlotte a big town, or is it it's not a small
Small city.
It is. It's a small city.
It's a small city with big town attitudes. That's.
Yeah.
I lived in Atlanta before
Right.
Charlotte, so yeah, I kind of see Charlotte when I moved to Atlanta, many years ago, 95.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I kind of thought of Atlanta, because I came from New York, right?
Right.
So I thought, well, this isn't really a big city. It's more of a big town,
Right.
small city with a big town
Feel to it. Or
attitude.
something? Yeah.
That's how I feel about Charlotte now.
Yeah, I've always said that it's a big town. Some people keep saying it's a metropolitan city. I'm
No,
like,
it's
no.
Restaurants are horrible.
But just to go back to your political climate too, the other thing that's going to be huge, and again, I think North Carolina or the United States really needs to build that infrastructure, is even on the industrial side of hemp, where we're not talking CBD, we're talking, when you talk
Roads.
about like your seed products, right?
Right.
So seed for food, but then you take that stock and you can make plastics, building materials, biofuels.
Yeah.
There's just thousands and thousands and thousands of applications. The plant only takes 120 days
20 days.
to
Really?
grow. So you
Versus
can
a
make
20-year
paper,
tree.
right? So yeah, you take rather than knocking down forest for paper, you just grow a field of hemp and
Wow.
It's real good. So it leaves a really light footprint on the environment. BMW made a car totally out of hemp. And there's some homes, yes.
Okay.
And there's some homes that are made totally out of hemp. So, you know, with all the problems we're having in our ocean right now with plastics and stuff, you can make all that stuff out of hemp, and it's biodegradable.
So what, I mean, making a house out of it and a car out of it, is it, somehow they're binding it together?
Yeah.
With lime.
Oh, really?
yeah. And they just it just
So there's multiple uses
It's as
for-
strong as
Oh, yeah.
steel, but much
Yeah.
lighter.
Right.
It won't burn.
It won't. Yeah, it's fire retardant.
Antimicrobial,
Yep.
antifungal. So yeah, like
So right. So yeah, you think about
Wow.
these homes that are in like hurricane.
Katrina's.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So or humid.
Our shirts are made out of hemp.
No.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just
But wait.
feel
wait,
like
wait,
because
wait.
that's a
Yeah.
That's not cotton?
there's cotton.
It's a
It's
blend.
it's
So
yeah
it's a
60
blend.
Yeah. Hemp dominant though.
yeah 60% viscous hemp, 40% organic cotton.
Yeah.
So are you
It's
guys
awesome.
gonna branch off into one of these things as well?
Possibly.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I
'cause
think
it's
it's a great
endless.
idea to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and I guess another thing about the crop and getting everybody involved is that, you know, we're keeping our eyes on people who have been doing it for a couple years.
Right.
You know, in Colorado, they will pay for your college. Right. So from the hemp tax money or
Right.
the cannabis tax money, it's going into building roads. It's going into building schools. It's going into that infrastructure that then changes the whole climate.
So
right?
Colorado's doing it the smart way, you think?
I like a lot of what they're doing out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, Charlotte Grove. I know about that. Now, favorite restaurant.
Oh.
Where?
Do I have
don't
to
care.
pick one in Charlotte?
No, I don't care where it is.
Charlotte has a challenge with restaurants. You can go in on Friday night and it's wonderful. You go in on Wednesday night and it's horrible.
Yeah.
So there's no consistency
Right, it's
with
not
the
consistent.
restaurants
Yeah.
here. But I would love it if some of the restaurants would start using some hemp oil and hemp butter.
Right.
And they can always.
See, I didn't
Locally
ask you all
sourced.
that. I didn't ask you
Locally
all that.
sourced.
What is your favorite damn restaurant? Yeah, but I won't hemp in it. So I don't have any favorite restaurants in this place.
So I'll give a plug.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Right. But like again, does it have to be Charlotte?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Soto in Atlanta.
What is it?
Ooh, Soto.
Yeah.
Really?
Soto.
Yeah.
That's what I'll go with.
So what is, I mean, explain that one to me. What's that like? What do
It's
they
Italian.
serve?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay, it's supposed to Gotcha. Huh.
Yeah.
You have one?
My wife and I went there for our anniversary. It's called the McNinch House.
Yes.
Have you
Yeah,
heard of
yeah,
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the atmosphere is cool. They got a library in the bathroom. They got this sommelier that tells you about these 800 variants of grapes, but he enjoys Miller Lite. So it's a weird. It was just a great experience. We ate for hours.
Yeah.
Favorite drink or cigar?
Ooh.
Anybody got one?
I like an old fashioned.
Old fashioned. That's my drink.
What is it?
Turned her into an old fashioned.
It has bourbon and then they take some orange and cherry and they muddle it in the bottom of the glass.
Got bitters. Yeah.
And bitters.
Yeah.
It's really good. And they give you this really fat ice cube.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just really good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
My favorite drink. I can't pick a restaurant.
So again,
Yeah. We'd be here all night for you when you decide on which.
listen, you guys have been phenomenal. I sorry about the glitch in the beginning, but
Oh,
we
no
got
problem.
through it. But I learned a lot, even just researching some of the stuff before you guys came on. I was kind of blown away with some of the information, but even as it relates to just hemp, I think that the sky is really the limit
It
and what
really
you
is.
can do
Absolutely.
with it. So hey, my hat's off to you for doing it.
Thank you.
And getting into it. I think it's phenomenal. And hey, folks, anybody who's watching, if you've got issues with, I don't know what, pain and inflammation, you better call these guys. I'm telling you, you got the stuff for you.
Yeah. And especially with children, you're seeing a lot of children being diagnosed as ADD, ADHD,
Right.
and before I put my child on a medication of that source, I would definitely try CBD first.
Absolutely.
And
Is that like a drop in behind the lip or something?
it just underneath the
Sublingual.
tongue.
on tongue? Yeah. Wow.
I would try that first before I start giving my child these medications. I'm a nurse. I work with Danielle, and I have a after school tutoring program. We work with children a lot, and that would be the last resort for
Now,
me.
this can't be used as like a vitamin, though, can it?
Yeah.
A daily supplement,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
There's people out there
Just-
that have
just
stress
once
and
again-
anxiety every
Once
day.
again, like
Yeah.
put your FDA
Disclaimer.
disclaimer because
Yeah.
yeah, you just
Yeah. These comments
No.
have not been approved by
right.
me.
It doesn't cure or
Yeah.
heal. We don't promote
It is
that,
not intended to cure, treat, or heal. Yeah.
but it does help.
Absolutely.
I hear you.
Absolutely.
Let me look at next week. Oh, I'm sorry. Later on this week, we have William Wilson coming on the show.
All right.
We're going to be talking about fashion and politics. You know this guy?
No, I've just been following you on Instagram, and I saw this picture.
Oh, I like that suit. Yeah, he's about fashion.
He's, yeah.
Does he dress up every day, I wonder?
Every single day.
Oh, my
wow.
goodness.
He dresses big time celebrities, sports figures, NASCAR folks.
Lorenzo, you may
Does it-
need him.
No, we just
No.
want to get down to jeans
T-shirts
and
and
T-shirts
jeans
every
is
day.
what I want to
That's
wear
it.
the rest of my life. Like, just make it
You're
easy.
good, right?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good. I want to spend my time enjoying life and not picking out what I'm going to wear to go
Yeah,
enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh, my
And be
God.
really relaxed.
And then on
but he
Thursday,
really looks nice.
we've got these two folks talking about public relations
Oh,
and
yeah, we
politics.
know them. We know those guys.
Yeah. You know both of them?
I know James
We
Mitchell.
know James
Mitchell, yeah.
Mitchell.
Yeah, Smudgy. Yeah, he's going to come on the show. He's really still ticked off about the CIAA leaving. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He asked me initially, he said, well, Steve, how long can I talk? He said, do I have 5 minutes? I said, brother, you got an hour. He's like, what? Like, take as much time as you
We
want.
didn't treat CIAA right when we had it. And you know what happens when you don't treat the things
I
right when you have
remember
them.
one year, I don't know if it was the first or second year CIAA was in Charlotte, and I was downtown, and everybody had all the restaurants had closed their doors. And I was like, why aren't they open?
Because they were stupid.
And I was like, are they really that? They just
Yeah.
don't want those dollars? And I was shocked. I was absolutely
They were
shocked.
just ignorant to the facts.
And-
you know,
I'm not mad at CIAA for going to another city. I can't blame them because I wouldn't have tolerated that kind of treatment after that first year when all those restaurants for downtown closed.
Yeah.
I would have left that. I wouldn't have come back the second
Well,
year
and
to
the
get
ones
treated
that were
like
open, they were like taxing them out the wazoo.
Mm-hmm.
Like these extra taxes that they were
Exactly.
laying on some of that stuff was insane.
that was a bit bizarre. Wow. Guys, I'm sorry. Any parting words?
Yes, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and you can visit our website at keepithemple.com. And you can always get in touch with one of us if you have questions.
Absolutely. Any questions, send to support@keepithemple.com.
And Lorenzo
Or
will answer all
Frederica's phone number, which is
Or Frederica's phone number. Be mindful. Don't call her Monday
Give
through
out the
Thursday.
phone number. Oh my
but yeah,
God.
keep your body is a temple, so keep it hemple.
There you go.
Oh, like that.
Yeah.
Thanks, folks. We'll see you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
thank you guys.
Guys, thank you. You guys were amazing.
Oh no, you help us be great.
Yeah, you're easy. You're good.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Of course, my phone is just buzzing away
Yeah,
while
phone
we're
is
Who's,
buzzed.
oh, that was Hamid?
Yeah.
What did he
Hamid,
say?
yeah, he needed our names, and then